All right, you guys, welcome back for day 2 of our asynchronous learning with the Maine Moose Harvest Analysis. At this point, the goal is that you've already got your harvest map done, and it should look a little something like that. If you don't have your harvest map done yet, make sure you go back and get that thing done before you start this stacked bar graph. We want to have everybody in the same place, all caught up with their maps and graphs done when we get back together in person next time, so we can go over this and make sure everybody's on the same page. So today we're going to focus in on this stacked bar graph, and let me just say, stacked bar graphs are like my favorite graph of all time. You guys know how much I love graphing, you know how much I love wildlife data, and when you mix those two together, I get all excited. And when you take a stacked bar graph, really what you're doing is taking a whole bunch of little pie graphs and smashing them together into a beautiful bar graph, and it's just amazing. So this is one of my favorite graphs to make here, this stacked bar graph. We're going to look at permit allocation. So now we don't really care about how many moose were harvested. We're looking at how the state is divvying out these moose permits through the moose lottery, and they do it through WMDs. Some WMDs get more permits than others. Some get multiple types of permits. Some get just a single type. And it gets really interesting to look at. And the whole purpose of next class will be to look at this graph and start to think about maybe some of the reasoning behind how we allocate permits for moose here in the state of Maine. So to do this, we need to create a fresh document in Pages and start putting our graph in. So let's do this. Let's go out here and we'll go into Pages. And I'm going to, those are our graphs from last time. I'm going to make a blank document, maybe landscape here so I can blow it up nice and big. And you guys know the deal at this point. To add a graph to Pages, we need to select this little plus symbol in the upper right-hand corner. And it's going to give us a whole variety of options. And we want to find this chart option here. And specifically, I want that option in the upper right-hand corner right there. I want the stacked bar graph. So it's going to plug in a random graph for us here, and we're going to edit this graph here in a few minutes. But there's a couple things I want to do first. While I have this graph selected, I'm going to go to the paintbrush here, and I'm going to do a few things. You guys know we always need to turn our chart title on, and I like to move my key again out of the way. Grab and hold that, move it down here, maybe. It's probably a little bit better location for that. I also need to turn my axis labels on because, we want readers to understand what it is they're looking at here, and by labeling our axes, we're allowing people to do that. So to do that, I'm going to go to Style on my tab up there, and I'm going to turn the Y-axis name on, and I'm also going to turn down here my X-axis name on. So there we go. We're pretty well set up. And let's edit this stuff here right off the bat before we even put our data in. So down here on our x-axis, if I double tap on category axis, these are going to be our wildlife management districts. And I'm going to put in parentheses here because I'm fancy. WMDs. Okay, now let's do this. Let's label our y-axis by double tapping over there, and we'll say number of permits allocated. Now our title for this graph, we want to give who, what, when, and where. So let's say Maine Moose permit allocation by WMD and permit type. We're looking at two different things here. We're breaking it down by which WMDs get which permits and what types of permits are awarded within each WMD. And we better give the date. We're looking at 2019 data here. So there we go. Hopefully you've been following along, pausing if you need to, but that's exactly what your graph should look like at this point. We haven't put any data in yet, but we have a nice graph coming together with a title and both of our axes labeled and our key moved down out of the way. So the next thing we need to do is edit this data. So if I touch my graph once, I can select Edit Data here. And this is where I'm going to begin to put in my WMDs. And actually, we're going to list all of our WMDs except the ones that don't give any moose permits. We can skip those. And those, I think, were districts like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, maybe 25 too. We'll see that when we check our data table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put all these in real quick. I know 20 doesn't give any moose permits. Let's see, I'm checking my data table here. Oh yeah, there's the bell. 20 doesn't give any moose permits. We don't get them again until 27, 28. And actually they combine the districts 27 and 28 into one big district for the moose hunt. So we have all of our districts in now. Hopefully you're following along. You've got all of your districts that award moose permits in here. And the next thing we need to do is put our types of permits in. So we've got 3 different types with this graph. We're going to put in BOP, which is bull only permit. For those people that get awarded a BOP, they're only allowed to harvest a male moose. And let's go here. We've got AOPs, which are antlerless only permits, and the way it reads there is the holder may harvest a cow, a calf, or a bull with antlers shorter than its ears. So if it has those antlers shorter than its ears, that would count as an antlerless moose. So there you go. And then our final one is an AMP, which is an any moose permit, and those are moose permits that are awarded in really southern districts that have really marginal habitat and moose numbers, where they give you the entire month of November to moose hunt, and it may take you the whole month to get eyes on a moose, and it'd be a real bummer if you were held to one sex or the other. So they give you an any moose permit there, and we'll see those districts here in a little bit. So I'm going to do the first 4 with you. And again, we can delete all this out of here. We don't need this data. We're going to put in the permit types awarded within each district. Okay, so I'm going to swipe over here to my chart, and I'm going to look at the total number of permit type for each district. So this can be a little tricky for folks. I can see that there was 175 bull-only permits awarded in the September season in District 1. There was another 175 bull-only permits awarded in District 1 for the October season, and then they gave out 125 antlerless-only permits for the second October season. So if I look right here, I need to combine these, and I need to see that there are actually 350 total bull-only permits awarded and 125 antlerless-only permits awarded. So I'm going to say for bull-only, District 1, 350, and antlerless-only, 125. There were no any moose permits awarded there. You'll only see those in a small number of districts, and those districts will give out only any moose permits. So I'm going to leave AMP blank for that one. I'm going to come back to my data table. I'm going to look at District 2. And again, I see that we had 2 different seasons that awarded bull-only permits, and in those seasons, we had a total of 250 bull-only permits, and then we had another 125 antlerless-only permits. So I come back here, and 250 for bull-only, 125 for antlerless only. Let's do District 3. Okay, I see again we have 2 bull-only seasons and 1 season that has antlerless only. So here I've got 150 bull-onlys and 100 antlerless onlys. Okay, so 150 and 100. And the last one we'll do together here, we'll take a look at District 4. and you guys will see, okay, we had September week 150, October week 150. That comes out to a total of 300 bull-only permits, and then we gave out an additional 150 antlerless-only permits. So we'll say 300, 150. I'm going to hit done here just to check in, and I'm going to set you guys free in a second to finish the rest on your own. At this point, your graph should look like this. I'm going to pinch that together a little bit. Move this out here. Yeah, you've got 4 of your districts done. If you've been following along with me, we can see the breakdown of permits allocated, and we can see very quickly that District 1 has given out the most permits, with District 4 just shortly behind it. And the majority of the permits in each district are actually bull only, but some of them are giving out some antlerless only permits, looking to harvest some female moose as well. So your job today is to finish this graph, continue putting that data in from your data table in the assignment, and just leave the sections blank if there aren't any of a certain type. Like you're gonna get to District 7 and 8, and they're not gonna give out any antlerless only permits. It'll just be bull only permits, for example. So don't worry about that, leave them blank if they're not there. We will check in, make sure everybody's good to go next time we meet in person before we move on. Thanks a bunch for your effort today, guys, and I'll see you next time.